So far to lesson 3, we learned the concept of project management, project life cycle, and then we learned the importance of the human powers, materials, machines, and of course, move to lesson 3, we learn the money, the cost involved, uh, play a role in the planning project. For example, in lesson 1, I show you a case study of the Alaskan viaduct way built in Seattle, Washington State. And you see that project span for 2 decades until now is still under construction. And throughout the life cycle project, you see that from the market demand or perceived needs of the project until the construction and realize that to the end user, it may take times. And for this one, I want to demonstrate what I have used in the last 3 lessons of this class to do a real study for Lake County that conducted in 2018 with a team with other faculty. I take a lead in doing the utility study, feasibility study, cost involved, something that you learned so far. And now I'm going to show you how that works and how that relate the work we done for that apply the concept we learned from today class, which is lesson 3, about the index, about the cost capacity factor, how to consider that in estimate a project that we have a minimal information from the engineering standpoint. We don't have a detailed design yet because at the beginning when we receive the need, it no engineering. But we need to estimate for the owner to find out where the money should go, etc. And then this case study to show you that whole process. So you see a project that we conducted for Lake County in 2018. And basically the location of the project is the US-27 highway corridor that from Moorhaven, as you can see here, the Lake Okeechobee, and where we are here in FGCU, and that we go to here, Moorhaven, okay, and that US-27, and currently they have a small wastewater treatment plant here. It's only served for about 10,000 in Moorhaven, but there is a limit wastewater treatment in this corridor, and that hamper the development in these areas. For example, no publics or anything in here, and there is a Aglet airport here, and that about to expand the runway, and that will extract the agricultural products from Latin America, divert from Miami airport, which is very busy. It can be having here, and then it distribution, it go through 27 US-27 and go, and with that it will create a big warehouses, demand, etc. in this area. But the question is whether utility from Lake County can be accommodated to attract the business in these areas, and that is the purpose of our study. What needs to be done, how much will we need, and when we will need it for providing utility for this. So we studied the water, wastewater treatment facility that should be accommodated to these areas. And from that, I and Dr. Villiers, went there in 2018 several times to survey the areas from the demand standpoint, the current existing infrastructure capacity of the water treatment, wastewater treatment facility in these areas, and how much they can use the current capacity to the other side of the Kolohachi Canal, okay, and what expansion needed for your facility. That's what the purpose of study. And then from that study, we need to see the projection of the population, how it grow over time from the city of Moorhaven, south, northeast Washington Park, and then we will determine the flow for the water and wastewater based on the code with the increase per cap people. When job grow, more people come, things like that. And then it's the industrial come, what will implication for the water demand and wastewater demand. So we had that and project our study for 25 years from 2018. Of course, start work assume 2020, which is this year, and then for the lifetime in 2045. So that is the flow. When you have flow, you know the capacity, you also investigate the current capacity, we can determine what should be needed. Okay, so with that we can also determine the costs. And of course at this point we don't have the engineer design of the wastewater or water treatment. So what we should do, we use the material we learned in the lesson 3 order of magnitude estimate to do the estimate for many items that involve. So as you can see, for example, force main, so basically they carry the wastewater, and then the manholes, lift station, wastewater treatment with different capacity. And then how about it's sitting wastewater treatment plant, WTP, wastewater treatment plant expansion. They have currently they have it's sitting, and can we operate that? Other scenarios, operation and maintenance costs. And I can show you in the previous video with the study with the wastewater treatment plant. If you treat the cluster wastewater treatment plant, it's much more expensive than with the satellite centralized wastewater treatment plant. So we have all of that cost from the reference project. And then of course, what are the year they built? So we do the inflation adjustment, and as you can see, like index base, something we do for the year. And then location, where that project located. For example, this is the project we collected from intercoastal waterway. So basically they do the force main under the the bay of the water, so that they go to the same project that we use here. If we do the force main go through the Caloosahatchee Canal, it go through that. So it's similar time. So we have to connect those two from reference project in Fort Lauderdale to the project in Mohaven, Lake County. So, and we have location adjustment. So something that you did in lesson 3, and of course with when do the real project like that, there are many factor involved, as you can see here. So we have to make in spreadsheet to do the estimate, and of course to make it realistic, you know, it's sometimes it's not the number is not deterministic. When you make get different information from different location, so you need to do the range, low, high, average, so that you can see what should be the possible cost, what is the highest cost should be for the unit cost. So when you have that and you have flow, then you can see alternative here. It can be anything, whether I should expand the current wastewater treatment plant with the higher capacity, or I just build a new plant in a location on this area, so that I don't have to put the force main here to provide for this area, or I expand the current water treatment plant. It's somewhere in here in these areas to that here. So wastewater treatment plant that you see there, Lake County Correctional Wastewater Treatment Plant. So that's what they have here. Should we expand this, or we build a new one on the other area? So all of that need to be considered for this one. So that is alternative is all about. So from that unit cost use lesson 3, and then we can determine and summary. We have that with alternative. The total cost is $17 million if we use alternative 3A. 3B is 19,400,000, and as you can see, I round up to the 100,000 for this time of estimate order of magnitude. And when it go to that, we do report, and of course that is the estimate for the owner to make decision. In this case, they want to get money from the state to develop, to stimulate the economic growth in that areas. And with that, we go to show you that there is that finished in 2018. So in 19, uh, Lake County, the support apply for funding through the House bill, and in this case, the 2019 legislation, and that HB, you can search that on the internet with the website here, HB 4787, Lake County US 27 utility corridor infrastructure, and they request $2.7 million. So that is basically, it's either total for until 2014. This is the first phase, just get the force main to the other side of the Caloosahatchee Canal. And as you can see the process, it daunting task. It filed February 19, and then introduced to the House March, but then die in the Agriculture and Natural Resource Appropriations Subcommittee at May 4th, 2019. So that is last year. And of course, that the process, as you can see, keep continue. Now go to this year, 2020, with the same requests, and it effective July 1st, 2020. And you see the process, it go much better. In last year, they die at the this stage, Agriculture and Natural Resources Appropriation Committee. Now they approve favor, but it died at the Appropriation Committee. So with that one, and you can see that it take time, and this is the bill you have for 2020. Okay, so if you want to read that one here, so this is the request for that. So based on our study, the request, and as you can see, this is perceive the market needs. But then you go to feasibility study, but we need money. So something that we did in 2018, now it's under consideration if the money approved this year, next year, following years, but it takes time, and that you see that the life cycle project will be prolonged. Depends on the nature of project, depends on the funding. All of that will play a key role. So something we do today, it may be your engineering, the engineering job maybe happen a few years, if not 10 years later. For example, this project. So that gives you our case study so far, how we applied only the first 3 lessons, and of course with the other knowledge to do a real project study that have an impact to our community in Southwest Florida.